So, after speaking with the machine shop locally, he does not have a line bore and hone machine, being that these have different size journals on the 1UZ. He said he doesn't know of anyone in Northern Nevada that does it. So, I'm gonna risk it for the biscuit. Call me crazy, but I'm trying to get this car running for the 2026 drift season to get some drift events under my belt. That being said, if we wipe out the bearings in the first season, hey, at least we can get a couple laps in and get some practice in. At that point, we'll strip it down and send this thing out. I have a good machine shop I used to use when I had my shop back in Central California. So worst case scenario, I drive the 6 hours down and go drop this off to have it all done. But for now, we're gonna throw this thing back together, start getting the oil pump on, and move from there. Since there's already a video of me doing all the bearings and everything prior to 2 videos ago now, we're gonna forego that. I'll put this together and then we'll move on this video forward from that point. Call me crazy, but here we go.
Built with soul, not just steel.
One little side note, and I don't know if I mentioned it in the first video, these do have a direction for the washer. So there's a slightly, I'd almost call it tapered. I guess that's what it would be. There's a slight taper to them, a small end and a wide end. The wide end goes towards the nut on these. I'm just getting all these washers off. A magnet really helps get them back off with all that ARP grease underneath them, assembly grease. Okay, clear. All right. All right, we got all these studs down. We're gonna back them off. Let's go full turn. I know it's really hard to see, but just from hand spinning that crank before, they're pretty evenly, the top coat of the bearing is pretty evenly wiped out on every bearing. Not wiped out, but dissolved into the lubricant, but they look pretty good. So I honestly do think, I know it's crazy, but I do think this is gonna run just fine with that 0.002 a little bit off. I think it'll run fine at least for 1 season and we'll have good oil pressure. But we're a long ways away from getting this thing running, but we want to get it in, get everything test fitted. Still got to get a tranny and stuff like that. So we're gonna, like I mentioned, we're gonna put this together, and then with the day we do fire it up, we'll fire it up, we'll rev it up, we'll monitor the oil pressure really good, and kind of go from there if we're gonna be able to hit the 2026 season like we wanted to or not. I have a feeling it's gonna be fine, just because physically looking at these bearings. And I've seen engines run with way worse grooves and bearings wiped out, than this. So yeah, I've seen engines run just fine with way worse settings than this. So I think we're going to be able to at least get 1 season out of it for sure. So we're going to finish throwing this crank back in and then move on. everything's torqued back down. You see, I mean, this thing, it looks great. It's got no heavy drag. It's got just about the right amount of effort. And you can see here, I mean, those things look truly round to me, even though they're off by, you know, a hair over. So I think they're going to be good, again, for what we're doing, at least to make it through one season. If we wipe out the bearings, we'll just rebuild it. So the next part on this is going to be the side bolts on the main bearing caps. So these ones I had to special order from, I got them from 1UZ Tech, but they're straight from Toyota. They're called a washer seal. So I believe we are not going to use, let me double check here, but we're not going to use the washers that come with these bolts. We're going to use just the washer seals. Okay, all base head stud, no, that's for head studs. Don't want any of that. 3UZ, 1UZ main stud kits, torque 60 foot-pounds in 3 equal steps, 20, 40, 60. Use an ARP lube, Toyota torque pattern, got that. We highly recommend checking the line bore, which we did. We know Mars is ever so slightly off. And then torque, use OEM seal washers on side main bolts and torque Toyota recommended values to 36 foot-pounds. So yeah, we're not going to use the ARP washers that come with this. So we're going to go ahead and just put a little bit of lubrication on our threads for these side bolts here. So let me get the part for you guys. These are the washer seals, 90210-11002 from Toyota. All right, make sure none of these seals are still on here, which they look like they are. They got stuck to the block side, so let's get our little screwdriver and magnet. Let's pop these out. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's this side. Again, 36 foot-pounds. Good news is they line right up, so that's not distorted at all. ARP lube on the threads. You don't need it on the heads of these bolts, only because it's going up against a rubber seal, so it'll slide past just fine. You do want to add it to the threads for proper torque of these bolts. That makes 5. Okay. Verify that these washers are popped out of this side. That one's still there. 1, 2. That one's off. That one's off. And that one is already off. Okay. I'm going to run these in real light. This gun has a controllable trigger, so you can control the speed, variable trigger. Okay. Okay. 36 foot-pounds is what's up next. I have to set to 35, 36. All right, we are going to torque this like everything else, just cross torque it. Start in the middle, work our way out. 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. All right. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just double checking, making sure they're all torqued. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. The crankshaft is officially in. So now we are going to move on to the oil pump. And we have the brand new 3UZ oil pump. We're gonna go ahead and pre-pack the gear inside the oil pump. So let me go grab a tool to get the back cover off, and then we will pack that up and we'll start to clean this surface off and get it all bolted in. Okay, so we're gonna pull out these Phillips here. Basically prime the oil pump. We should be good. Yeah, everything's solid down there to be able to pull these off. This is spring loaded, so when you hit it, it sends a shock and turns the bolts for us. So, sounds like you're hitting it harder than you actually are. But this is a very important step. Having it pre-primed, especially when you first fire it up. Now, some of this will run out because it's going to still be sitting a while, but because it's assembly lube's a little thicker, most of it will stay in there, and it'll just keep it from starting dry. That's all we can really ask for. And then I'll have to find the torque specs for these. They're probably only a few inch-pounds typically. So there is your plate. Set this over here. So what we want to do, we want to give a thin layer. Open this back up. Let's give it a thin layer just on the outskirts so it can spin freely. Now I want to pack this full. Pre-assembled. All I'm going to do, spin it around a bit. Just to get it in every tooth a little bit. There you go. Just move the extra over. Get us a new rag. That should be more than enough to have it pre-lubed. We're going to put the seal in it as well. Front crankshaft seal. Yeah, there we go. I feel better about that. We'll save the rest of this for reinstalling the camshafts. These are those red lint-free rags, so okay. Can use a little bit on the plate. Just surface-wise, what it touches. so these are going to be 8 foot-pounds or 96 inch-pounds on the cover. We've got our smaller wrench here, so we're going to go up to 96. 70, 80, 90, 96. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. So these bolts that bolt it to the block are 22 foot-pounds. So let's get our front crankshaft seal installed, and we will clean everything up, and then we also need to find the O-ring. This is the O-ring that was in this standard block, wherever I set it. It's around here somewhere. Gonna make a liar of myself, apparently. Anyways, there's an O-ring that goes in the block. So it just so happens one of my beads from my bead roller fits the seal perfectly. So we got that nice and flush. We're gonna add, we can grab some of this spare stuff here. We're gonna kind of pre-lube the seal so it doesn't dry out. All right. And we'll get some brake clean. We'll clean everything off. The block and the oil pump. Here is those gaskets I was talking about earlier. So one of these is going to be the O-ring that goes on the block side. I use a carbide scraper. You got to keep these flush and true, but these things work incredible for taking off just about everything. It's almost as good as resurfacing sometimes. So as long as you take your time, make sure the edge stays true, you'll get a nice clean edge without using any kind of roll lock wheel or anything like that. Okay, and we're going to add new silicone in here. This is where that O-ring sits. It's likely going to be one of these two, probably the bigger. Yep, that is going to be the one, I believe. All right, we got the silicone laid down on the oil pump side. We're going to get this. I did find the old gasket. This is definitely the right one. It's just kind of going to have to stick in there. A little bit of silicone helps with that. Just like that. You got this thing fully beaded. All right. Where are our grooves? Right there. Okay. Make sure this doesn't pop out. Okay. All right, this O-ring is definitely going to be a pain in the butt. Okay, let's back off real quick. Damn it. I'm hoping that O-ring is in fact there. Can't really see it once it's on. All right, let's give it a shot. If we lose oil pressure or have an oil leak, it's from there. But realistically, it should have sat back in there because it was just wanting to kind of bubble out, so it should have got pushed back in. All right, now all the oil pump bolts, 4, 5, oh, that one's bigger. That one is that one. There are a couple bolts that are bigger than others, but for the most part, this should be it. And this one is a bracket that goes to, oh, where does this one go? I believe this one goes right here. Yep, I'm positive now. It goes right like that. Okay, perfect. Let's get 12s and 14s. Okay, let's get this set to 22 foot-pounds. Let's double check everything. Okay. You guys take a look. You see it's nice and primed in through here. The surfaces are perfect and true. Again, that's a 3UZ pump on a 1UZ, non-VVTi. This is the only part that we're gonna have to clearance, is this big part when the secondary pan goes in here. We have to clearance that pan a little bit from what I understand. We're gonna go ahead and we'll put the brand new gasket in here. Okay, we got those studs swapped. Got the 14. All right, now snug those bad boys down. All right, I'm gonna, before I go putting on this rear cover with the rear main, I'd like to see what kind of clearance we're dealing with when it comes to this oil pan. I still gotta clean all this up, but we can just do a quick test fit. Of it. I get all this old silicone out of here still, but just to see what they're talking about, I'd like to see. Oh, there's 0 clearance issues. I don't know what they were talking about. Well, cool. So they were saying that They were saying that this would need clearance, maybe for the windage tray, but it does not need clearance here. It clears just fine. So not quite sure what they're talking about with that, but I'll take that back off. All this stuff needs to be really gone through and cleaned. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and take my carbide scraper, just ensure that there's no blemishes. You see there's a little bit of a booger right there, but we can actually, with this, scrape it off and smooth it out just like that. All right, nice clean mating surface. So many people are always worried about little stains. You don't got to worry about those little stains. It's just discoloration, as long as it's not raised. A little bit more cleaning over there. As it's getting late in the afternoon, we're gonna call this a video for now. We got the oil pump on, finished getting the crank back in, got the front crankshaft seal in. I went ahead and swapped over the the crank sensor. One thing to note on the 3UZ, the sensor itself is a different part number, but they both fit exactly the same. So I'm obviously reusing my 1UZ crank sensor on this 1UZ block, but we're gonna finish cleaning up all this. I gotta find, the rear of this cover has the same size O-ring as the front of this cover. So, and it looks like the kit I got only has one that particular size, and then it has one slightly smaller. So I got to figure out what, this is the slightly smaller one, if maybe this one is the smaller, or if not, I have O-rings in the big shop, need to go match one of these up, because this one seems to be awfully small. Other than that, next video we bring you guys, we'll get the rear cover on, we'll get this thing flipped back over, and we'll start assembling the timing again, and the cylinder heads, I should say. We got ARP head studs, and we got the Cometic multi-layer steel head gaskets. So until next time, this is JP Street and Performance, where dream cars are built, not bought. From the first cut to the final pass, catch you on the next project.